Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at and installing the Corbeau Trailcat seats with white stitching for 1979 to 2018 Mustangs. These seats will fit all year Mustangs as long as you get the correct corresponding seat brackets. The seat brackets are sold separately, so just keep that in mind. These are a great option for you if you're looking for an upgrade replacement for an old or worn out seat, or you're just looking for an upgrade in general. They have race-inspired styling with the comfort and practicality of a modern seat. They are fully manually adjustable. They're harness ready, you can see the opening right here. They are sold as a pair and they cost just under $850. The install is a 1 out of 3 wrenches in the difficulty meter, and I'll show you how I got these in the car now. Alright guys, we're going to show you the install of these seats on a 2018 EcoBoost Mustang. In order to start this install, you'll need a flathead screwdriver and a T50 Torx bit. You're also going to want to have your seat all the way back on the tracks. So we'll use the flathead screwdriver to pull up on these covers here. Underneath these covers are the T50 Torx bolts that are holding your seat in place. There we go. So you have one T50 Torx here, and then we'll undo the other side as well. Now we're going to go ahead and undo both of these bolts up here. At this point, we're going to move the seat all the way forward on the track and tilt it forward as well. This is going to give us enough room to get to those back bolts. Okay, so it's going to be the same thing for the back. We'll use our flathead to pull up on the covers. So then we'll take our T50 and remove the bolt. Alright, so at this point your seat is completely unbolted, but we have to undo the electrical connections on the underside. So we are going to push the seat forward. You can see you have 2 electrical connections here, one for your airbag, one for your power seats. Going to take the flathead screwdriver. There are tabs on the inside of the clips here. I'm going to push the tab up. Once the tab is up, I'll be able to pull back on the electrical connection and disconnect it. So same thing on this side. Push that tab up and disconnect the electrical connection. Now you're ready to completely remove the seat from the car. With the passenger seat out of the way, we're going to move on to the driver's side, and we're going to start the exact same way. We have the seat all the way back on the track. We're going to remove the covers and then get the 2 front bolts here. Once again, we're going to move the seat all the way forward on the track, and then from there, I'll disconnect the negative battery terminal just to undo the electrical connections underneath the seat. Now we'll grab these covers off and then undo this bolt. I have the negative battery terminal disconnected just because we are undoing airbag electrical connections here. I'm going to use the flathead screwdriver to pry up on the tab in this electrical connection. Then I'm going to pull back and it'll disconnect. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing for the other electrical connection. Use the flathead to pry up on the tab in here and then pull back. Now we're ready to remove the driver's seat from the car. At this point, we're going to get the new Corbeau seats ready to install. So you have your seat bracket, which you need to get onto your seat. So if you flip your new seat up, you can see that the hardware for the seat bracket itself is actually installed on the seat right now. So we are going to take a 6mm and undo these bolts. So before we grab our seat bracket, I'm actually going to flip the seat because we're going to install the seat bracket bolts on the back side first, or the side towards the back of the seat. So I'm just going to rotate this over. The other thing to keep in mind is if you're going to keep your stock seat belts or you're going to be installing a harness. If you're keeping your stock seat belts, you will need to transfer over your seat belt buckle, and it's going to go right here on the bracket. Do keep in mind that you won't have the electrical connection on your seatbelt buckle, so you will end up with a seatbelt chime. You guys can reprogram that. It's right in your owner's manual, so just check it out and make sure that you reprogram that if you don't want to hear the seatbelt chime. One other thing to keep in mind is that these Corbeau seats do not have the connection underneath the seat for the airbag, so you will end up with an airbag light. But right now we have our seat track all the way back. We're gonna go ahead, grab 2 of these bolts and install this on the bottom of the seat. All right, so we're gonna make sure that our bracket is in the correct orientation. We're gonna line up our bolt holes, grab our bolts and thread them into place. All right, so I am gonna tighten these just a little bit. I'm not gonna tighten them all the way because I need to make sure that I can line up my front bolts still, but I want them to clear the track at this point. So I'm just gonna tighten both down a little bit. So now I have the track slid all the way back the other way so I can line up these front holes here. And I will say that I switched to a ball end Allen just because this angle is gonna be a little bit difficult. But I'm gonna go ahead and get these started by hand first. Okay, with these started by hand, I'm now gonna tighten the 2 front bolts and then tighten the 2 rear bolts. Now we're ready to get the seat installed in the car, and we are going to reuse the stock hardware to bolt the seat bracket back into the car. So at this point, the seat is all the way back on the bracket, so I'm lining up the front bolt holes, and I'll get the front bolt started first. All right, so we have our seat bracket lined up. We're going to take our stock hardware and start threading it in by hand. We want to make sure we don't cross thread this. All right, so with this one started, we are gonna line up the bracket on the other side and start the other one as well. All right, now we're gonna move the seat forward on the seat track as well as lean it forward right here, just so we can get to the rear bolts. All right, so we have the bolt holes lined up on this side. And now we're gonna tighten them down with the impact gun and the T50. All right, so we're also gonna tighten this side. Now we're going to shift the seat back again and push it all the way back on the track so we can tighten the front bolts. So now we're going to tighten the front bolts down. That's going to do it for our driver's side seat install. We are now going to move over to the passenger side. So at this point, our driver's seat is in place. We have our passenger seat up here with me, and I also have the passenger seat bracket. So I'm going to grab the bracket and get that bolted into place. You want to make sure that your bracket is going on in the correct orientation. So it's going to go on the bottom of the seat like this. And I have the bracket pushed all the way forward so that I can line up the holes in the bottom here. So I'm just going to start this by hand. I'll tighten it down just a little bit just to hold the bracket in place. All right, I'm going to grab the other side. Do the same thing with this. I'm not going to tighten this all the way down because I still have to line up the top holes. Okay, so now I need to move the seat bracket down. So with the seat bracket all the way down, I can now line up the top holes. All right, so now we have our top 2 bolts tightened, so we're actually going to move the seat bracket again and tighten the lower bolts. At this point, the seat bracket is on the seat. We're literally going to lift everything up, place it in the car, and bolt it down. All right, so we're gonna get our front holes lined up, and then we'll loosely put the bolts in, and then we'll line up the back and bolt it down. As you guys can see, your plastic covers will not go back on, so you will have this type of finish with the seats. All right, so the front bolts are in. I'm going to move the seat forward so I can get the rear bolts before I tighten anything down. All right, so with our bolts started, we are going to tighten these down. Alright guys, so at this point that's really all the install is going to take. You won't be putting your plastic covers back on, so you will have this type of finish with a little bit of paint showing down here. As long as you don't mind that, you can move the seat forward to cover it up just a little bit if you want to. You're also not going to be plugging in any electrical connections. You guys saw on the bottom of the seats that they're plain, so you don't have to worry about those connections, you just leave them down there. That's going to wrap up this review and install. Keep in mind that you guys can always check these seats out more online right here at AmericanMuscle.com.